and welcome to my presentation on the Northeast England lobster pot fishery. Throughout this video, we will look into this fishery and identify whether or not it is MSC compliant. So, why are sustainable fisheries important? They are important for four key reasons: global economies, food security, ecological integrity, and intergenerational equity. The MSCS's fisheries standards reflects the most up-to-date understanding of fishery science and management. These standards ensure the health of the fish stock, impact of the fishery on surrounding environment and ecosystem, and strengthen the management measures that are already in place. To better understand this fishery, we need to understand what this fishery is and where it takes place. The Unit of Assessment, or UOA, of the lobster pot fishery in the northeastern portion of the United Kingdom EEZ is from vessels located in the United Kingdom and other countries. This can be seen in this figure I have over here on the right. It shows the distribution of lobster in blue within this fishery and its surrounding units in purple in the UK EEZ. The Homarus gomarus, or common or European lobster, is the key species caught in this fishery. Lobsters are caught using D-shaped traps with two entrances and a large chamber. This allows for larger individuals to be trapped within the nets inside the trap. Typically, multiple traps are strung together in a line with weighted rope and deployed at the bottom of the seabed. This fishery contributes between 1,500 and 2,000 tons each year to the local economy. Management plans and strategies are needed to ensure the lobster fishery can continue to benefit local economies. The lobster fishery provides value, job security, and sustainability to the Northeast England economy. Lobster is one of the most valuable shellfish species, contributing over 222 million Great British pounds to the England economy every year. The employing not only fishermen, but the lobster fishery also supports jobs in processing, transportation, and retail. If no sustainability measures are put into place, this fishery could collapse, making it almost impossible for this fishery to continue to provide value for future generations. Now entering into the MSC principles, we'll start with Principle 1, the common lobster background, by beginning with the background biology of the common lobster and then following into its stock status and management units. As you can see in this top image I have over here on the left, the common lobster is a dark greenish animal that can be found on the rocky bottoms of the European Atlantic coast to the Mediterranean Sea. They are composed of a rigid, segmented exoskeleton and 5 pairs of legs. When it comes time to reproduce, females can lay over 3,000 eggs. Lobsters have complicated life histories. As you can see over here in the bottom image I have over here on the left, they undergo multiple platonic stages. These stages can be temperature and nutrition dependent. Lobsters eventually transition from platonic to benthic life, but successful recruitment is highly dependent on habitat quality, shelter availability, and predator avoidance. Very few lobsters survive all the way to adulthood, which is why it is important to understand the current status of the common lobster stock. The common lobster fishery in England are much smaller and less rigorously governed compared to other larger lobster fisheries around the globe. Therefore, its stock status is highly debated between fisheries scientists. However, based on available data, this fishery was deemed to have a high exploitation rate due to the significant increase in common lobster landings. As you can see over here in the figure on the right, on the left side, the number of lobster landings in 2022 was significantly more than the average landings from 2016 to 2021, which is over here on the left or on the right side of the figure. Landings have sharply increased from 750 tons to over 1,200 tons. Some areas have shown signs of reduced spawning stock biomass. The lobster fisheries in England are a non-quota stock. This means that there are no current catch limits. To measure the distribution of the fisheries, 6 lobster fishery units have been defined by the English government. These were created to help fishery scientists to investigate the change in stock size and frequency to evaluate the stock status. Now we will be delving into Principle 2, Ecosystem Background, discussing how the lobster pot fishery may impact the surrounding ecosystem. The common lobster is the primary species in this fishery. However, it is not the only species caught. Brown crabs are a secondary species and are commonly caught in lobster traps and sold for profit. This dual catch dynamic means that the lobster pot fishery significantly contributes to the brown crab landings. Bycatch of non-target species and endangered, threatened, or protected species, or ETP species, is a concern with this fishery. In a recent study, it was found that over 30 different fish species and 15 invertebrate species have been recorded as bycatch in lobster pots in England. It is believed that this number is increasing due to warming ocean temperatures due to climate change. Bycatch of ETP species, especially cetaceans, is unfortunately an ongoing risk in English waters. Pot lines can become entangled in cetaceans and sea turtles, as you can see in the image I have over here on the right, with a whale having its fluke entangled with lobster pot lines. Entanglement is high in areas where marine mammals and turtle migrations occur and other ecological activities. So where do these lobsters live? The common lobsters prefer rocky habitats closer to the shore at depths between 5 and 30 meters. These habitats provide shelter, which provides protection from predators, especially during molting seasons. Lobsters have strong site fidelity, meaning they stay between 1 to 2 kilometers from their habitats, indicating their movement patterns are limited. Therefore, managing these areas with high lobster activity could be effective when identifying high density zones. Now we will be entering into our last principle, Principle 3, which elaborates more into the management systems of the lobster pot fishery. The management structure of this fishery is broken up into 2 different areas, management groups and laws and policies. The UK Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, or DERFRA, and the Crab and Lobster Management Group, or CMG, leads fishery management and aims for sustainable harvesting, ensuring that laws and restrictions are followed. There are many laws that have recently been put in place under the Lobster and Crayfish Prohibition of Fishing and Landing orders. These orders prohibit the landings of female lobsters carrying eggs, which you can see over here on the right in the bottom image, mutilated lobsters, and lobsters with a V notch. These orders require any individuals caught with these features be returned to the sea immediately. These orders were created to hopefully support a healthy, sustainable stock. To ensure proper management and sustainability for this fishery must meet the MSC's fisheries certification requirements and guidance. These standards are designed to ensure wild capture fisheries are sustainable. Below on this slide, there are three different ways to see if this fishery meets these standards and to also establish more management measures. The use of new on-demand fishing gear has the potential to reduce bycatch of ETP species by eliminating floating fish lines in the water column. Annual stock assessments and fishery surveys will allow for fishery scientists to collect more data and monitor the status of the common lobster stock. At-sea inspections can also provide checks for proper gear design and compliance with laws and regulations. Laws and regulations must be monitored, enforced, and supported to ensure the sustainability of the lobster pot fishery. Laws are enforced and fishing licenses are issued by the inshore fisheries and conservation authorities and the Marine Management Organization. These two organizations recommend enhanced data collection, including electronic reporting tools, gear markings for evidence-based enforcement for IDing fishing gear entangled in other cetacean species, and potential limits on commercial fishing licenses to support compliance with these regulations and sustainable stocks. In order for all this to go through, a consultation of stakeholders will be a crucial step for the certification of this fishery. The stakeholder groups to be considered have been broken up into three different categories: the fishing industry, government organizations, and conservation groups. Additional stakeholders are likely to be identified during the assessment process. Therefore, holding meetings with various groups allows all individuals involved to have their voices be heard and can potentially raise concerns that were not previously considered. Overall, the Northeast England lobster pot fishery does not meet the MSC standards for sustainable fishing. Principle 1 and 2 are not fulfilled. There are no catch limits in place, and fishing landings have been increasing significantly. Overfishing is likely to persist. While bycatch of ETP species is not as common, bycatch of other fish and crustacean species is frequent, leading to the depletion of other fish stocks. As discussed over in Principle 3 slides, new laws and regulations are put in place to help monitor and develop a sustainable fishery. However, most of these policies have not been monitored over a lengthy period of time. Thus, there is a lack of evidence. More data collection and enforcement are needed for this fishery to someday become sustainable. I hope you enjoyed coming on this journey with me to learn more about the Northeast England lobster pot fishery. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know or email me. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.